Time is money, and it's a very, very precious thing. If you are taking 10 minutes to study English, you need to make sure that what you're learning is really helping you. And I have seen people putting a lot of effort into learning English and have great discipline, but what they're learning doesn't get them forward. So they spend years and years learning English, maybe they even go to classes, and they still struggle to have conversations in English and to get themselves through, to introduce themselves. They struggle with these things because what they're learning isn't pushing their objectives forward. So in this video, I want to show you what things you might be doing that are a complete waste of time that you should not do, and at the end I will show you what things you can do instead. So we always have to learn English in order to improve. There are always new words, there are always new expressions that we don't know, but a key element of a learner who gets to their objective and who can communicate clearly is a learner who can distinguish what is important and what not. What words are important and what words are not important. What things to devote time to and what things to not devote time to. So this video will help you distinguish which words are important and which elements you should focus on and what are a waste of time. Let's get started. Let's get started with the biggest waste of time and money in the English learning community, in the English learning. When people learn, they focus in international exams, IELTS, TOEFL. So these international exams, because they think that if they put a certificate like that in their CV, then their employers will go, wow, this is really good. Look at this, certificate, right? And this might be true, so ask for, always look at the job application, always look in your field what they're asking for. But in general, my experience is that they do not care about these certificates as much as they care about your actual speaking skills. So if they actually need somebody who masters English, what they will do is actually have an interview with you and see how you react and see how you interact in English and see your skills. Why? Because this is a way more exact metric for them to see how your level of English is. How you will interact, yes? Again, this depends on what your job will be. But if in your job you will have to speak in English a lot, you will have to answer emails, you will have to interact in English, they will focus much more on communication and how you present yourself and how you react than your actual grammar skills or fill in the blank skills. This is not what's interesting for them. Another note on that is that these exams are usually officially valid only for 2 years. So if you want to invest in your English skills, what you should do is focusing on understanding, communicating, and doing that regularly so that you can show also spontaneously that you can master English. Unless you're applying for a university for a course of studies or something like that, a visa, then they might need certification. Or if the job description requires a certification, in this case, then it makes sense to do it. But generally speaking, it is a waste of time and money. I'm sorry. The second item in our list, it's funny how this chair goes down and then I put it up again. The second item is idioms or proverbs. These are things like going down the rabbit hole or every cloud has a silver lining. This is sophisticated vocabulary that poets use, that also writers, so authors use. I'm thinking of Shakespeare and his sonnets or Charles Dickens. So they are literary expressions. Sometimes you hear them in spoken English, it happens, but it's not the majority of the times. And they are a waste of time. There are many idioms, there are many proverbs. And the thing is, that teachers usually include these in their classes because they're curiosities. Sometimes they're fun little facts, fun little usages of language that are interesting. Yeah, I like them. But if you have a goal, so if you're learning English with a goal of communicating, with a goal of using English for work, with the objective of getting a new job, you should focus on communication. Yeah, so clear communication. And honestly, proverbs are not gonna get you there. And it's something that actually for natives is recommended not to use too much because sometimes we don't know them. So proverbs and idioms are great if you want to have fun with it, if you want to read poetry, but if you want English for communication and for oral purposes, they are a waste of time. The third one in our list is the very famous on the internet, stop saying I think. Say this instead. Or don't say and all the time. Instead, say in addition, moreover, and this vocabulary. Basically, what these Instagrammers are telling you to do is to stop using basic vocabulary, to use more advanced words or more varied terms. In reality, basic words have a great advantage. First of all, every native speaks like that. Yeah, we repeat words a lot. We say I think all the time, we say and all the time, and that is totally fine. But it also has some advantages. If you decide I'm gonna use basic words, so words that just come to me and I don't have to think about them, like and. This has the advantage that you free up mental space for what you're saying and for clear communication. So actually using basic words means that you're not thinking so much about, which word should I choose at this point, and it encourages you to deliver your message with more clarity, faster. It's great. And there's nothing wrong with these basic words. There's nothing wrong with them. They're totally fine. What happens is that in our first languages, so we tend to have a more elevated way of saying things, a little bit more twisted, with longer sentences, etc. And when it comes to English, we have to befriend the idea that, yes, we have to speak in a more simple way. But honestly, everybody knows that English is not your native language, and they will totally understand. The most important thing is that you communicate clearly. And what will come through is your clarity and your confidence. And believe me, clarity and confidence have nothing to do with using words like moreover, in addition, therefore. So you can forget about those. They're complete waste of time. Okay, so now we learn that there is a lot of things that we do not need to learn, that we can learn if we want to have fun, but we don't need to learn in order to get a new job. But there are certain things that are central and that will really boost your English. The first one, is learning vocabulary that is connected to your specialty, to your job, to your profession. So a way of doing this is maybe watching YouTube videos on the topics that you work with. So if you work a lot with Excel, it might be a good idea to watch videos on tutorials, how to do this and that on Excel. If it's something new, great. If it's something you already know, you will take the video just to learn vocabulary, just to hear, specific words. Because in a job interview, they might ask you to solve a problem, to solve an issue in Excel, and if you don't have the words in English, that might be an issue. I'm just giving you an example, but learning specific words for your field is something that will always be fruitful, 100%. A second point that we usually don't devote enough time to is pronunciation of words. We know some words are more difficult to pronounce than others, especially in English. And we also know by now that some words are more important than others and more common, honestly. So you should focus on those words that are common and important, maybe in your field, but that they're common and important, and that are difficult to pronounce. And those words we should totally devote some time to. So maybe look up the pronunciation so that you're sure, okay, I understand the pronunciation, and then we need to practice them. And why not in combination with other words? I'm thinking of the word would, and then the combination with you, which turns into would you, and then would you, and then we practice that a little, right? It's important to devote time to that. I have a video here where I explain how to do this and what happens with could you and would you, which are words that are extremely common, extremely useful. So I totally recommend that you go watch that video after this, because it will help you pronounce the words with confidence, so that when you're speaking and the words come, or you listen to the word, or you have to say the word, you welcome it as an old friend. Oh yes, I know, would you? I'm not scared, I'm confident. Would you? Yeah, no problem. Would you? The last thing that you should probably devote some time to is thinking how to introduce yourself. So introducing ourselves happens all the time. It can happen at a family meeting, it can happen at a work event, it can happen everywhere. And we want really to have different ways of introducing ourselves, and so that we feel comfortable with them in different situations. More formal environments, more informal environments. It can be with colleagues, so drinking something after work, and maybe there's a new colleague or a colleague from another team that came and you want to introduce yourself. So these situations are common, they happen all the time, and you need to be confident there, because that's your first impression. So I have also a video here on how to introduce yourself in these different contexts so that you gain confidence and you make a good first impression. Totally recommend to work on that. That was it on my side. Bye, Uriel.